Hey guys, so welcome to the very first episode of Caffeine and Crime. My name is Allie. I also go by Allie Brienne from my beauty YouTube. Yes, I am a beauty YouTuber, but I also have a fiery passion for true crime and a bunch of other random stuff. So I decided the past few months that I really wanted to do a true crime podcast, but I wanted to make it to where you can actually see me and I can throw some stuff on the screen and that type of ordeal as we go too. So that's why this is also going to be a YouTube channel. So if you're listening just on the podcast, you can actually jump over to YouTube and watch this video and actually see me while I talk about each story, case, whatever you want to call it, each week. So if you have a very busy, crazy lifestyle and you like to just listen to podcasts on your way to work or on your way home, then you do have that option here. And I've always wanted to do a podcast, so this is just perfect for me. Like I said, I've been a part of the beauty community with YouTube for close to 2 years now, and I love that. It's not something that I'm stopping, but I love true crime and I love like really getting invested in cases and like discussing them with others. And yeah, I'm a little bit of a weirdo when it comes to that, but I know that that's what this is all about, this community with true crime. So I can't wait to hear from you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. I don't want this intro to be too long, but since this is my first episode, I did want to say a little bit about myself besides just being a beauty YouTuber, but I also do a lot of lifestyle stuff. I'm a mom of 2 little boys that I know you guys will probably hear a lot about as we go, but I'm also married. I've been married for 5.5 years now. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. But yeah, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, both boys, so my hands are full. They are redheads just like me. I am a redhead ginger. If you guys are interested in checking out any of my other stuff, you can go find me on Instagram. My personal is AllisonHunt_2, and my beauty is AllieBrienne_MUA. So you can definitely find out a lot more there. So I decided to start dabbling into some true crime, and like I said, this is a podcast and a YouTube, but I also will have a true crime blog posted on my blog that I've had for a few years now. And every Tuesday when one of these episodes go up, the blog will also go up, and it'll be talking about the same case, but it'll include photos or something that I may leave out on accident in this podcast. So make sure you go check it out. I will have it in the description box of this YouTube video, in the description box of the podcast, however I can. And as much info as I possibly can, I will put there. So for my first episode, I am deciding to do seasons because it would be nice to have a little bit of a break in between, because I spend so much time on each case that I've been looking at. And for this one, I spent so much time on it, so there's no telling how much time I'm going to spend on longer cases. But I wanted to pick a case that was a little bit smaller, just so that my first one wasn't like too like full on me. So, because I'm new to all of this, and I'm sorry if any audio or footage or anything like that gets messed up, because I'm used to YouTube, but not so much podcast platforms. So I chose the case Brooke Skylar Richardson for a couple of different reasons. For one, her trial was just this year in September, and I don't know, there's like some similar things that I have in common with her. So I don't know, I think it just kind of struck a chord with me. So Brooke Skylar Richardson was 17 years old when the story starts. This took place in, from what I have read, it's a smaller town. Now, I'm from a really small town, so I don't know for sure like what they mean by a small town, but it was in Ohio in a town called Carlisle. And Skylar was your typical popular high schooler, cheerleader, and she had good grades. She worked a job after school at the YMCA with children. so kind of like the daycare at the YMCA. She was already planning her life after school. So after senior year, she was already talking about college and what she wanted to do there. But deep down, Skylar did have some secrets that she wasn't letting anybody in her life really know about. She did have some eating disorders that just her family knew about, and she really struggled with them. But she was holding back some other secrets that she literally did not tell a soul about. So I'm going to start this in August of 2016. So she was 17 and she started dating Trey Johnson. So they started talking the beginning of August, and they say by mid-August they were dating. They were your typical teenage couple, going to movies, going out to eat, but he was actually coming over to her house and spending time with her and her family, which struck me as a little weird because I feel like that's like a little bit more serious than just like a boyfriend you've had for like a week. Maybe it's just me. He was like 18 or 19, so they were pretty close in age. During this time, and this is relevant for this case, they were intimate twice and only used protection once. So from my experience with that, whether you're switching birth control, whether you're not using protection, please be careful. And you just never know what's going to happen. It's something to definitely have those discussions with your kids. And I know that I can't say too much on it because I would be a hypocrite because I am a teen mom, but I just feel like there's different maturity levels with teenagers, and if your child is not mature enough to have those talks with you, then they should not be mature enough to go out and do those actions. So if they are, you should definitely be having those talks. By the end of August, Skylar, and you guys will probably hear me say Brooke and Skylar, but her first name is Brooke, but she does go by Skylar. So if I say Brooke, I am meaning Skylar, but I'm going to try to stick to Skylar as much as possible. But my notes, I kind of started all of them by typing Brooke, and then I tried to backtrack and type Skylar, but I'm sure there's still a few left. But by the end of August, Skylar did break off the relationship, saying that with senior year and college afterwards, she was going to be super, super busy and was not going to have time for a relationship. They say that they never spoke again. They said, you know, after like a teen breakup like that, it's not really typical that you do speak again. And I mean, honestly, that's how it is with a lot. So after that, she just kind of went on with her life. She started her senior year of high school. She was still getting good grades. Like I said, she was a cheerleader and she hung out with her friends, worked at the YMCA. Life just went on. So sometime in the winter, maybe or late fall, early winter month, she started talking to Brandon Saylor. And by January of 2017, they were officially dating. This was another typical average teenage couple that were hanging out, going to the movies, you know, whatever. By time the relationship did start to get a little bit serious, Skylar did go ahead and reach out to her mom, and she told her about this. And she said, you know, look, things are kind of getting serious now. And her mom automatically was like, okay, I'm going to set you up an appointment for birth control. So it is a little strange why Skylar never thought to go to her mom back in August, since her mom was like pretty cool about it and was just kind of like, look, I'll set up the appointment for you. So her mom sets up the appointment for her, and we are now in April of 2017. Brooke texts her mom and says that she's really nervous. She's not really wanting to go. She's literally freaking out. She just wants to back out of the appointment, which is pretty common with young teenage girls going to their first gyno appointment. I mean, I know that I was like a ball of nerves going because you don't really know what to expect. And it's uncomfortable to begin with. So it's just, I can understand where she was coming from for that. She said that she was really stressed out though because her senior prom was just around the corner, and she wanted to look amazing for it. And her mom replies to her, if you run each day and if you eat better, you can drop the weight quick. Which I don't know what type of mom would say that to their teenage daughter who was dealing with eating disorders, which I believe were anorexia and bulimia. So I don't understand why a parent would kind of touch on that type of situation and like say stuff like that when their daughter is dealing with eating disorders, but that's just me. But then her mom says, but we need to talk about the doctor thing because you are doing adult actions. Do you not want to get pregnant? Then there is no college because you will have to work to feed your baby. No joke. Who will raise it? And Skylar just replies with, okay, I'll go. Her mom tells her to go and that she'll pay for the visit and that getting through this appointment, and I quote this, is easier than childbirth. So on April 26, 2017, Skylar does go to her doctor's appointment for birth control that her mother sat up for her. Her nurse, Ashley, says that she has been doing this job for over 4 years. And typically young girls at their first gyno appointments do come in very nervous and just a ball of nerves, like I was saying. But she said out of all the time that she's been working there in those 4 years, that was an understatement for Brooke Skylar, sorry. She was very, very nervous. And she said that she'd never really seen somebody come in and be like that, shaken up over a gyno visit, which is, you know, kind of a he said, she said type of ordeal. So it's not like anybody has proof of how she really was. And if she's a really nervous person, then she was really nervous, you know? So Ashley does her weight, her vitals, all that kind of stuff, and then brings in Dr. Andrew, who is actually acquainted with this family. He actually is Kim Richardson, which is Skylar's mom. He's her doctor, and he actually delivered Skylar and her brother. So he's kind of familiar with this family. He sees her and he says he's going to do a pelvic exam, which she downright refuses and says no. He says, okay, that's fine. And then she just says she wants the birth control. So he says that's fine. He gets her birth control. So he says that he's going to send her birth control prescription in. After the appointment, her mom texts her and says, did he say anything about your stomach? I want to keep being honest and open. Even Dad asked me about your tummy. So please find a way to get yourself back ASAP. Like, what the actual... I mean, like, who says that in general to their daughter, but like their daughter who has an eating disorder? Skylar says, okay, I will go for a run here soon. I'm about to do an ab workout. Her mom replies, okay, good. I'm fighting this with you. Then she says, I just got a call. Your prescription is ready. I'll pick it up tomorrow. Skylar actually goes and picks it up that day, and she starts her birth control that day. Now we are on May 1st, 2017. Senior prom is just a few days away, and Kim texts her daughter a picture of an email she got from the doctor's office, which was kind of like a mess up. Mind you, now that we're in April and May, Skylar's now 18 and no longer 17. So there is a HIPAA Privacy Act with patients that you cannot even give information to parents of people over 18. So they accidentally sent this email to Kim instead of Skylar. And in the corner of this picture that she sends to Skylar, it says PT pregnant. Kim says, what does PT pregnant mean? Skylar replies, no clue. I can call later or something and see. Kim replies, you should call right now. Are you joking later? Skylar says, sorry, I just got to school. I'll call now. Kim says, your life could potentially be over and you will call later. And then she sends the number to Skylar. And Skylar says, no, sorry. I meant like I figured it was probably just a mistake. You're scaring me. And then she texts her mom again and says, please still have a good day, mommy. I'm sorry if you are stressed now, but I wouldn't be getting any smaller if I was, and I wouldn't be on birth control. I love you. Please don't be mad at me or sad. It was just an accident. Please, let's have a good day. It's prom week. Kim says, I cannot tell you how my heart stopped because I care too much and want you to have a future. That eliminates all of that. I just need a few hours to adjust. And then she sends like a couple sighs, like she's sighing with relief. Skylar says, so did mine. I'm so sorry. That freaked me the freak out. 2. I was shaking. I'm sorry again. Okay, let's make today great. I understand. So a little while later in the day, they're talking about prom, and they're once again discussing Skylar's weight, which I just think is so inappropriate right here. But Skylar says, I've been killing it this past week. Like, I feel like I'm getting a hang of what works for me, and how you control my weight and hunger with those pills have been a big help too. So now we know that her mom is helping her control her weight and hunger with pills, which you later find out were actually laxatives and green tea diet pills. Yes, that is actually a true thing. Her mom says, I know those pills are good. We can do this. Still referring to giving her child with an eating disorder, whether she's 18 or not. This poor girl has an eating disorder, and her mom is like giving her these green tea diet pills and laxatives. Just a mess. Skylar says definitely. There's messages on May 2nd, 2017, talking about cramps. She tells her mom that she's cramping so bad and that it's her time of the month. There's a message on May 4th that Skylar burned 300 calories on the treadmill, said that she was, quote, looking great. So May 5th rolls around, and this is Skylar's senior prom that she's going to with Brandon. Brandon is a junior, she is a senior. At prom, Skylar tells Brandon that she's having really bad cramps and it's just from her period. He feels really bad, so they go home early. And he, lets her lay down and tells her to relax. And, he ends up going home and just texts her throughout the night, like checking in on her, making sure that she's okay and all that. He also texts her and just says, I know that you're hurting really bad, so don't worry about the game tomorrow. And he's actually referring to a baseball game that Skylar's parents bought tickets to for Brandon's birthday for them to all go together. Skylar says, no, it's your birthday, so we're going whether I'm in pain or not. And there's a lot of mushy texts that were really awkward for them to read in front of everybody in that courtroom, but I will skip most of them, I promise. On May 6th, Skylar and her parents take Brandon to the ball game for his birthday that evening, where she's still cramping really bad, and she ends up going home that night. She tries to make the best of it, but when she goes home, she texts Brandon and just says that she's going to relax and go to bed because the cramps are hurting so bad, and he feels bad for her. So the next morning, around 11:30, she texts both of her mom and Brandon and lets them know that she's feeling much better. Skylar continues weight loss journey. She graduates from high school, and she's still working her job at the YMCA over the summer. So now we're going to fast forward to July 12th, 2017, when Skylar is needing a refill on her birth control. So she tells her mom, I want to say her mom actually got a call saying that, you need to refill it. So Skylar says, don't worry about it. I'll call him and I'll schedule it. This time she schedules an appointment with the other doctor in the office, Dr. Boyce. It's a female doctor, so people want to kind of speculate that maybe she felt more comfortable going to a female doctor over a male doctor. She goes to her appointment and she gets her prescription refilled, and then she goes on with her day. A couple days later, on July 15th, Skylar and Brandon are visiting her grandma when her dad pulls into the driveway of their house. And when he gets out, he sees that there is an officer. This officer is Lieutenant Fain, and he informs Skylar's dad, Scott, which I have not mentioned. Scott Richardson is Skylar's dad. He informs Scott that Skylar may have been a witness to something and they needed to bring her in for questioning. The dad goes to the grandma's house and gets Skylar, and then he drives her to the police station for questioning. For questioning, Skylar is placed in a very small interrogation room with Lieutenant Fain and somebody named Katie. I'm assuming she's another officer investigator. So they start off by just asking her questions about herself. So you graduated from high school. So are you planning on going to college in the fall? Where are you working right now? Oh, at the YMCA. What are you doing there? Those type of questions. She says, yes, I graduated. I am thinking about going for psychology in college and probably to work with developmental work with children. At the YMCA, she works with kids from 6 weeks old to 11 or 12 years, is what she says. So as they're easing her into these questions, Lieutenant Fain finally says something about the doctor's appointment that she went to on April 26th for birth control. And Skylar just says, yeah, you know, it was for birth control. That's pretty much it. So she seems confused until they mention her more recent appointment with Dr. Boyce. And when they asked her what it was for, again, she says birth control. So they kind of keep asking, you know, well, then what happened there? And she says she told them what had happened. Lieutenant Fain says, what had happened? Skylar, with a very shaky voice, replies that I had had my baby and it wasn't alive. I didn't kill her though. I know, right? Like, oh my God. Insane. This chick was actually pregnant.
And I'm going to leave you guys hanging a little bit right there. If you would like to go check out part 2, I will go ahead and throw it up on the screen for you. And you can also go down to the description box to click on it if you'd like to do it that way too, and finish up this case with part 2 of Brooke Skylar Richardson.